maybe, just maybe, ETSU's point guard situation for the next basketball season won't be a dire one. Hi everybody, I'm Marky Bilson, and yesterday it was announced that Marcus Nilblack, who is a promising point guard coming out of a small school in Florida and a one-time Ole Miss recruit, would instead be playing for ETSU in the future. This is a big pickup because, of course, after Davian Williamson left for Wake Forest, there was a huge hole at point guard. It wasn't just that ETSU doesn't have any starters returning from last year's 30-victory season. No, that wasn't it. It was that there really wasn't an heir apparent anywhere on the bench to play the point. So new head coach Jason Shea has got a couple of players from the high school ranks, which I found intriguing because I thought with a 3-year contract that Shea would probably be getting JUCOs and such, but no, he's got the 4-year players coming in, assuming they stay for the 4 years and aren't Bo Hodges. But Marcus Nilblack comes in. Now, like Truth Harris before him, it's a little skinny. Nilblack, 6'1", 160 pounds. The thing I do like about him is he was a wide receiver on the football team. So it seems like maybe it's a durable 6'1", 160-pound player. Of course, he went to a small high school, a 1A high school. So, yeah, you're like, okay, I mean, they usually at 1A high schools don't have really sizable players, now do they? But still, it seems like, okay, maybe wide receiver on a football team, now playing point guard at a D1 college basketball program. Maybe he's got some endurance. And with Nilblack and Harris now, you'd think that one of the two are going to be the starting point guard for the team next year. Now, I do realize that David Sloan is on the roster, transferring in from Kansas State, and maybe he'll get the waiver. But if he doesn't, then, yeah, now you've got a 2-horse race for the position. I found it very interesting, by the way, that Nilblack was signed second after Truth Harris because I think Harris probably thought, I'm going to a school that needs a point guard. And now Nilblack is coming in, and you get the idea that with Nilblack's pedigree, once being a recruit for Kermit Davis, you know, that he had Ole Miss in his fold, whereas Old Dominion was in the Harris fold. Okay, sign Harris first, and then after he's inked and really can't do anything about it for a while, bring in the other point guard who comes in, you know, from an SEC program, could have played there, supposedly. Now, by the way, I found that to be very interesting because Kermit Davis, who was 15 and 17 as the Ole Miss coach, he found out he had one less scholarship than I guess he thought he was going to have or something. He had basically 3 players to fill 2 scholarships, and so he went with the grad transfers instead of the project player. And that speaks of a need to win now. And remember, Davis, who's been in Oxford for 2 years, took the Rebels to the NCAA tournament his first season in Mississippi. Second one, though, 15 and 17, only 3 years left on the contract. And it makes you start thinking, since in 2021-22, that's when Davis is supposed to start making $3 million a year. He wants to win now. He feels the pressure to win now, even though, yeah, the Rebels are a year off an NCAA tournament berth. So that's kind of interesting. Now, my big fear with Nilblack and with Truth Harris coming in is I looked at their stats and I saw for Nilblack 5 assists a game. That was what he averaged. Meanwhile, Harris averaged 8 assists a game. But both of them averaged 21 points a game. That sounds like, hey, 21 points a game. And I'm not sure I'm really going to hold scoring against a high school basketball player, but I don't want my point guard to be my leading scorer. I want him to dish the rock around. I want him to make the players around him better. That's what a point guard is supposed to do. You know, I kind of like the point guards who rack up a ton of assists, don't turn over the ball, and have maybe 3 or 5 points a game or something like that. I think that's a good total for a point guard. Now, again, this is high school basketball and small high school basketball in the case of Nilblack. So perhaps, scoring with the rock is not necessarily the sin that it might be at a higher level of ball, if it's a sin at all. But a point guard is your leading scorer, kind of like a quarterback who's your leading rusher. Really, it just seems like you're taking opportunities away from other players and you're not really doing your job there. Speaking of that, Trevor Smith has been offered by ETSU. Trevor Smith is the son of Tim Smith, who might be the most overrated player in the history of ETSU basketball. Tim Smith was the point guard of the Southern Conference champions of 2003 and 2004. He was the point guard, very athletic, and he was a guy who ended his career at ETSU as the all-time leading scorer. Problem was, he was a point guard. Again, imagine a football team whose quarterback is their all-time leading rusher. And that's what it was with Smith. And remember, when it became his team, his junior year, after Zaki Wadud and Ben Rhoda and Gerald Fields had all, graduated, I assume they graduated, perhaps, and their eligibility was up, ETSU absolutely tanked. Absolutely tanked when it was Tim Smith's team. He just didn't pass the rock around. It was all him. And because it was all him, he also choked at the end of his 2 NCAA tournament games, really making horrible decisions at crunch time that cost the Buccaneers a chance for victory. Anyway, Smith's son won't be coming to ETSU, if he comes at all, until 2023. Old Dominion was the school that offered him first, after all. He's from Norfolk, Virginia. However, interestingly enough, Virginia Tech and Florida have also offered Smith, so they like the athleticism. I just hope that he can be coachable, which is something that his father was not able to do. His father also made a mockery of the term student athlete when it was announced that ETSU is leaving the Southern Conference to go to the ASUN because, of course, ETSU dropped football. They're getting kicked out of the SoCon. Smith famously told Kelly Hodge of the John City Press, I like that. I'm going to miss more class. So remember that when you hear, Scott Carter or Brian Nolan talk about the student athletes at ETSU. Regardless, I will tell you this. I think that Nilbach and Harris coming into ETSU, that's a big step for the program because, again, high school players coming to play for a coach, Jason Shea, who only has 3 years on his contract, not the 4 that you normally would say, I'll be here for your entire career if you come here. They're going to the program. They're going to play for 30 victories and a conference championship and just miss the top 25. They're coming for the ETSU program. Not necessarily, I really like this new coach, Jason Shea. Of course, why wouldn't they? ETSU is a basketball school. That's proven when you consider that Jason Shea's contract, which I don't think is good enough, to tell you the truth. I think he deserves better, but he is making $25,000 a year more base than Randy Sanders, the football coach. Something to think about. And, of course, when has ETSU not been the basketball school? And it's really shown right now is that here it is, beginning of June, it's going to be, 5 months until tip-off, and we're talking about who will play point guard. Good. ETSU now has 2 guys they can, mix and match. If David Sloan doesn't get a waiver, Nilbach and Harris, they can play them both. They may be a little on the skinny side, but they won't wear out. You can get them in for 20 minutes a game each. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about how can ETSU, which finished in last place in the football standings of the Southern Conference last year, restore the glories that had them tied for the conference championship in 2018. We're not talking about will the real ETSU football team stand up. We're not talking about Tyree Russell. Can he make the NFL? We're not even talking about who's going to be the quarterback this upcoming football season, assuming there is one. We're talking about ETSU basketball. Maybe there is something to that. Maybe with the COVID-19, we are, well, football season, are we going to have it? I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. But I think it's primarily because ETSU is a basketball school. They're on the cusp of making the top 25 this season. And frankly, ETSU, you get the idea. If things break their way and if they're really committed, it could be a mid-major powerhouse. Problem is, the offseason has gone so poorly for ETSU this year, it probably will take more than just 2 freshman point guards to continue the level of success that ETSU has had under Steve Forbes. I'm Marky Bilson. I ask that you follow me on YouTube. Hit the bell. Please be one of my subscribers. Also, look at Marky Bilson on Twitter and follow my Medium page as well. Always have something up really daily content every day. There's a lot of the archives of my NASCAR interviews with Jerry Bonkowski. Very good stuff, as a matter of fact. And you can find that on my YouTube channel, which is Marky Bilson. Just type that in. You'll find it. And